Welcome to Heart Strong. So they asked me about doing this workshop on heart and heart matters. And I said yes for one reason, because there's no diagnosable disease that takes more lives than heart disease. Would you agree with that? But when it comes to sexy topics like weight loss or headaches, like we were talking about, those things, it doesn't draw a crowd. Like, you show me something I want, like losing weight, I'll show up. You show me something that I feel like I need some help with headaches or whatever, I'll show up. One of the reasons I got a lot of you guys here tonight, and this same workshop is going on over at Southlake today, is we talked about looking at blood results, right? So everybody here, raise your hand if you've got blood results in the last year or two from your medical doctor, right? And what happened was you got those lab results, and those lab results were interpreted for you, yes? Right? Now, that is the professional, and you should listen to them. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. But I want to give you the truth behind what some, not all of them, but just some, what it means, so that you can listen, because everybody's got a differing opinion, but what the truth is about those things, so that you, who is the captain of your ship when it comes to your health, can actually lead as that captain. Make sense? Got it? Yeah. Now, let me just say this before I get too far. I'm now having to put this in all my workshops, just to make sure that everybody knows, these are the opinions of, this is my disclaimer. Got it? Right? So, pause for effect so everybody can read it. There it is, my legal disclaimer. And now I can move on. Everybody got it? Okay, now. Everybody's seen that. I love this picture, by the way. Is that a great picture? Oh. Love that picture. Now, this is a group of people that are planning on changing the world. Do you guys see that? I went to Zimbabwe. Everybody knew I went to Zimbabwe, right? So I was chosen. I didn't choose to go to Zimbabwe. I was chosen. And their healthcare system was declining. It was failing, actually. It was the worst in the world. And they chose my wife and I to be a major voice in the reformation of that healthcare system. So I was working with the United Nations, the head of the United Nations for Zimbabwe and the 5 central countries, the head of the Medical Association for the entire country, and on and on and on. Everything just below the president of the country. That's who I was working with. And at the time, I had friends that went with me on several trips, and they went, "Man, it is weird to see you over there. You're like Mr. Africa. Like, you're telling people, like, you've got a vision and you know exactly how to do this and you know exactly where to go, and boom, you go through this. This is how it's going to be. This is what's first. This is what's second, all the way down to step 12. And we really did make some amazing changes. And we actually started and ran the largest chiropractic clinic in the history of the world up to this point. Like, nobody has seen that many new patients in 1 week or seen that volume. And we did that as a part of what we were trying to accomplish there. Now, let's not talk about where it is now, because third world countries and criminality and all the rest, because I wasn't there. But the point is, I had a vision, and the vision was to create, I'll just show you, this. I read a book called Prairie Thunder. It's about a guy back in the 40s who started to build the largest hospital actually in the United States. And it wasn't a hospital, it was a chiropractic hospital. And it was the first one to have like stainless steel cookware and fresh food for all the people that were there. Exercise every day for everybody that could, and the ones that couldn't were pushed by the people who could, so they got exercise. He got everybody outside to get fresh sunshine every day for so many minutes a day. If you were a patient and you would help out with other patients, so you had a purpose in your life. He was doing the 5 essentials before there was the 5 essentials. And their results were nothing short of absolutely spectacular. He actually bought 15 acres in the Denver area, which you could do back then for relatively good prices, I guess. But there was 15 acres. There was the master plan. This building, and this building actually got built. Here are the 2 buildings that actually were, 2 of the 3 buildings that were actually built right there. 260 something beds in this hospital. It was nothing short of spectacular. He actually wanted to go around and give people truth, like the reason we're doing this workshop, the reason that we go out constantly to different places and talk. And so he literally it was so important for him to make sure that people got adjusted and remove interference, that he said, you know what, I'm going to put a chiropractic adjusting table in a trailer, and we're just going to drive around and get as many people. So he would actually put a notice up in a town and say, we're going to show up from this day, from this time, and he would just literally move this trailer, and he'd have hundreds of people outside and getting adjusted just running through the trailer like this. And again, free for poor children. And he would literally have blind people see. It was just amazing. And his big thing was he wanted people to understand that health and life was not something that was genetically predispositioned. It wasn't bad luck. It wasn't age. And so he went out. He actually made this thing. This is what this looks like. this is the cancer education information trailer. And so this is back when there wasn't actual motion pictures, and he had motion pictures going in this. They said, come one, come all. That's what this advertisement says in the paper. And come, it says Thursday through Monday, this is where we're going to be. And he said there's motion pictures, photographic illustrations, and educational literature. And he did this for free. And the reason is because he wanted to educate the community on that their bodies are fearfully and wonderfully made, they can heal themselves, and show people what health is, not what sickness is. Everybody here knows that when you have sickness and you focus on it, you just get more what? Sickness. But when you focus on health and what health is, you get more what? Health. And so that's what he did. Now, so what happened was, we have gotten busy, and sometimes, listen, sometimes the greatest enemy of great is pretty good. Did you ever get that? I'm doing pretty good. Who here has done really good with your care over the years, and because you got results and you're doing pretty good, you kind of fell back a little bit? Anybody else? No matter what it is, right? The best enemy of great is pretty good. So we started out, we did really well in this clinic, and things are okay. At one point in time, a long time ago, we had patients literally giving us groceries out of their trunk of their car at church because we didn't have money to feed ourselves. And we were laying down on our stomachs in the back of our clinic in Irving, praying to God that he'd help us pay the bills so that we would do okay here. And then fast forward, we don't have to struggle like that anymore. And so guess what? It makes you kind of pull back a little bit. Then we do an expansion space here, then open a second clinic. And all of a sudden, guess what? There's a little bit of struggle again, and it's like, you know what? This whole vision of building 12 clinics in a hospital, I think you can have that, God. I don't know if I really want to struggle like that. And the more we get out there and the more that we're successful, the more notoriety I have, and the more, like tonight, I've got a nationally syndicated radio interview that I've got at 8, by the way, right when I'm done. And so the more notoriety I have, the more open I am as a target. Some of you guys know that in one 24-hour period, 2-3 weeks ago, about a month ago, I had 271 bad reviews and comments in a day, which I like what people say. But when you start telling me that I should be shot in the face and my hands cut off, and my kids hear about this and they have nightmares about me dying, makes me go, maybe I just want to just have one clinic, or maybe just 2 clinics will be just fine. But then we flew a guy in from South Carolina who's he's a franchisee coach, and he stirred me up last week, and he broke me of whatever it is in me that was holding back. And what I need you guys to realize is that we're about to go for a ride. And if you aren't buckled in and you're not ready for that, you may need to find a new clinic, because this clinic is about to go. And we're not go away, but go for it. We're going to open 12 clinics, and we're going to open a hospital, and we're going to change the way that healthcare is viewed and delivered. And all this crazy nonsense of drugging people, with a lady that came in today on 22 medications a day, that's ridiculous, and that's over. That is, in fact, if I have anything to do with it, the doctors that would think that's okay are going to be carrying luggage at the airport. Does you get that? And if we do it right, there should be less and less need for all doctors. Can I get an amen for that? Amen. So I thought I would start with a little bit of vision today, because the reason that you're here is not just to talk about your heart, although we're going to talk about heart attacks, we're going to talk about heart disease, what causes it, some easy action steps for every day to decrease your likelihood to have heart disease, and some great things just to be healthy in general. That's what we're going to talk about. But that's here. And from now on, every single talk, every single time you see my face, every time I adjust you, I'm thinking about you, but I'm thinking about a big vision. Does everybody get that? And the only way that happens is through support from every one of you. Now, you think I've got a team and they're all wearing shirts like this, but everybody raise your hand. That's the team. Got it? That's how we change this. And so moving forward, I expect you to give this information that you get tonight and bring it to who? Everybody else. Got it? So moving forward. Now, this is the world's most death-causing disease. Okay? The most death-causing disease. What is it? Say it. Heart disease, or cardiovascular disease, because it includes stroke if you put cardiovascular. Number 1. Now, if you look how bad it is, I just got some stats. But something interesting that's not on the stats is, did you realize that we spend 40% more on heart-related health issues than we did just in the last 3 years? So in less than 3 years, from 2015 to 2018, less than 3 years, we spend 40% more. Can you imagine if your home bills went up 40% in less than 3 years? You'd be asking somebody what's up, right? If you look, heart disease is normal with aging is the first myth. Who here has heard if you live long enough you're going to have heart disease? Anybody? Who here has heard if you live long enough you're going to have cancer? Yeah, if you're a guy, you've heard if you live long enough you're going to have prostate cancer. If you live long enough you have breast cancer, ladies, stuff like this. Absolutely insanity. That is a lie from the devil. I hate to get non-scientific, but that is just absolute craziness. This is not normal with aging. It is just so common and so many people have it that it's easy to believe that, hey, maybe it's just going to be you. And let me just break that right now. Raise your hand right now if you would like it not to be you. And guess what? There's a reason that you're the weird person here tonight in the rain, okay? Because it's not going to be you, okay? The truth is, it's common but not normal, okay? So 95% of people have atherosclerosis, so hardening and plaquing of the arteries. Guess how many kids under the age of 10 already have atherosclerosis?
Too many.
100% that were tested. 100%, right? Pretty bad. One death every 38 seconds. That's a lot, even during the time that I'm going to be speaking tonight. But is it bad? Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. And the reason it's called the silent killer, heart disease, they call blood pressure that too. But the reason they call it the silent killer is what's the first sign of heart disease for most people? A heart attack, and 52% of people don't make it through the first one. And out of men and women, who has the worst mortality rate at the first heart attack? Women actually do. Yep. Key risk factors. Now the top 3 is what the American Heart Association and CDC will actually put down. High cholesterol, blood pressure, and smoking. Well, let me break that first of all. This is crap. Okay? Now first of all, smoking, is that a risk for heart disease? Why is that? It's because every time you take a drag off a cigarette, the chemicals hit and they cause vasodilation, so a contraction of your blood vessels in every single blood vessel in your entire body, even the capillary beds, which is why people who smoke, they get splotchy hands, right? You're also 85% more likely to have back and neck pain, headaches, your joints and discs, they don't get blood supply like they should. You just age hard. What ends up happening though is you actually, the back and forth contraction, every time you take a drag off a cigarette, wears the vessels out, which are muscle, and you end up having all kind of issues with it. Got it? Also, the toxicity of smoking and the decreased oxygenation actually causes a whole lot of other things too, like hardening of the vessels, okay? Which also causes another one, and thickening. But some other ones, like high cholesterol, do you believe that? No. You're like, is that a trick question? Now, let me say this. Most of you guys have heard that there is no association. There is association, but I thought you said. The only association, though, is the oxidation of cholesterol, and I'm going to get through that tonight. But high blood pressure. Now, high blood pressure and high cholesterol, they may be risk factors, but all they are symptoms of something else going on that is basically heart disease, is an underlying thing that's causing those. What most people do is they want to villainize, actually, most pharmaceutical companies and marketing companies want to villainize something that they can actually market. Got it? So I'm going to villainize high blood pressure so that I can give you a drug for it. I'm going to villainize high cholesterol so I can villainize it and I can make a savior in the form of a pill. Make sense? But again, smoking, what's the solution to that? Yeah, put yourself out if you're on fire or stop smoking. Got it? And so, I mean, it's just easy. Diabetes, another symptom. Overweight and obesity, another symptom. Poor diet, that's easy to fix. Physical inactivity, that's easy to fix. And excess alcohol use, that one's easy to fix. Got it? Now, there's ones that's not on there. What about this? Every single person knows right now, there's actually a study in Journal of American Medical Association that for every centimeter that you lose in height, you increase cardio, or so heart, and pulmonary disease. It's a huge percentage, every single centimeter of height that you lose. And why? Because as you lose height, what happens to your spine? It puts pressure on the nerve supply to the heart. And so what you don't see on here is what? Subluxation. Subluxation is the movement of the spine putting pressure on the nerves that causes issues. I just had a lady who was in our Southlake office, and she had what appeared to be a heart attack. She went in, and she has familial high cholesterol. So as soon as they see the high cholesterol, like, well, she's got all plugged up arteries and she's got a heart attack. But they go in there to do the stent, and they do the heart cath with the camera, they can't find any arteries blocked or plugged or anything. And the whole family's thinking it's a miracle, and it might be a miracle. Praise God, either way, that she didn't have that. But what caused that heart attack, in my opinion, wasn't the fact that she had high cholesterol or a plugged artery. What the issue was what? It's a nerve supply. Yeah, exactly. So, moving on. Let's talk about cholesterol. Now, this right here, good HDL, bad LDL, this is crap too. Okay? And so there's no such thing as bad, there's no such thing as good. They're both good. In fact, if you don't have LDL, you die. Did you get that? So it's not that you just got something bad. Let me ask you this. Do you think if your body makes LDL that it's bad? Do you think God went, watch this, I'm going to put something where they'll make a poison inside themselves? It's just not that way. There's a reason for it to be there. It's like people that say you don't need an appendix. No, you probably do, right? So let's just talk about what it is. So HDL is more of a hard substance, high density. That's what that means, high density lipoprotein. And then LDL means what? Low density. To give you an idea, it's like the consistency of snot, basically. So this is like a microscopic booger, okay? Okay? Just saying it like it is, okay? This one is more like a microscopic tennis ball, got it? Something like that, okay? So basically what happens is the reason this is so critically important is both of them work together, and there's not just high and there's not just low, there's a variety in between, and there's sizes, okay? So what it means is this. When you have, I wish I had a chart I could like draw it, but if you can imagine a vessel right here, okay? Imagine a vessel. Now let's say that you've had some stress. You really stressed out. Maybe you didn't get any sleep. I was up for whatever reason. I was excited this whole week. Last week it just set me off on this vision, and I can't sleep at night, so I've been waking up every 20, 30 minutes all night. Then I had a dream that I was on Normandy Beach. I don't even get into that. It was crazy. Anyway, let's say you don't sleep and you're stressed out. You had a couple of drinks with some friends. You had a really bad nutrition day, and your neck is cricked or something like this. You got a cell luxation. Now, what's going to happen is the stuff in your blood is going to be more inflammatory. Could you see that? Now, as it makes a turn, you've got this thin, see-through, tiny layer. It's called an intimate layer of the three layers of your vessel. It's called tunica intima, if you didn't know the name of it. And let's say as the things are passing, all the blood cells and platelets and all these things are going through your blood, and the inflammation therein actually irritates the lining as it makes a crook like this, as it makes a turn. And it just, all these cells keep hitting the corner where it makes the turn, and it keeps irritating it and irritating it and irritating it. And now it's not real smooth, so all the blood cells just go down it. Now they kind of hit it and roll. And the more they do that, it's starting to make some chunks into the side of the wall. Do you see that? Now, if you didn't have a little boogery, slimy LDL, then that thing would keep getting worse, and then you would die because it would bleed out, it would just bust that. What happens though is you got these little slimy little LDLs, and when they hit that, instead of just sliming across and then down away from it, they kind of hit that and they smear like this. And then they smear on it, and then an HDL comes along, and then they kind of hit across it as well. And what ends up happening is you make this slime layer to where all of a sudden it's slick again, and stuff will pass through it without damaging the wall. And then underneath that, guess what happens? Your body can heal the vessel. So it is actually there to repair, which is why if you don't have enough of it, guess what? Your vessels don't repair, and you have vessel damage, and you start building a scar, a plaque on it. Does that make sense? Okay, and so does oxidation. We'll go through the oxidative stresses. But this is how cholesterol works. Now, has there been changes in what cholesterol should be as far as normal? Yes, there has. Well, when I was in school back in 1999, when there was dirt in the wagon wheels, I remember when cholesterol had to be over 300. Does anybody remember that? Had to be over 300 for it to be high. I remember when they dropped it down to 240, and I thought, 240? That is a huge jump right there. That is massive. And then it wasn't just a couple, 2, 3, 4 years, and you can look it up on Google when they changed it, but it went from 240 down to what? 200. And when they did that, I was like, that's not just ridiculous, that's dangerous. Like, they're going to kill people because they're dropping this cholesterol stuff down, and you need cholesterol. So let's just take a look. There was a book that came out that said Overdiagnosed. If you don't have this book, this is a great book. Making People Sick in the Pursuit of Health. And it shows there's just one page that I want you guys to see right here. This is from that book. And it basically has all these different things from fasting sugar, blood pressure, cholesterol, which is what this is, and osteoporosis in women. When they change, this is the old definition, okay? They changed the value from here, 240 down to 200, and it went, this is the new definition from here to here. They increased the amount of people that need statins by 42.5 million people, which was an increase of 86%. Now, let me ask, every time they change these values, like for women, the osteoporosis T-scores went from 2.5, do you remember when this happened? Down to 2.0 to diagnose osteoporosis. Do you remember this? So now they give women increased by 85%, so new 6,700,000 new cases of osteoporosis to give women more drugs. Let me ask you, what happened? Are there less hip fractures? No. There's what? More. In fact, the people that are getting the most hip fractures are the one taking the what? The drugs, which is the number one side effect from the bone drugs is what? Hip fracture. Don't get me started. But can you see this is a big issue? Do you see that? So let's talk about how to interpret your results. Okay, so if you're taking notes, take your notes. Here's the thing. Is there any doctor, including me, that knows exactly what your cholesterol should be? We good? I'll take that.
No.
No. Did you get that? Are you smart enough? Am I smart enough to know exactly what my cholesterol should be? No. In fact, watch this. Tell me what, I want you to think about your liver. Can you ever think about your liver? Think about your liver.
Okay.
Now I want you to think about the cell in your liver that is the exact middle cell in the entirety of your entire liver. Now you tell me what that cell needs right now. You have no idea what it needs, and neither do I. So if you don't and I don't, then what doctor can tell you what that needs? The point I make is your cholesterol is always changing. Now let's just do a scenario. I'm going to tell you how to read this. Let's do a scenario where you don't know this, but all of us have cancer cells that develop every day. Between 10 and 100 cancer cells every single day. Okay? Now, let's just say that we had that same scenario where you're a little out of order, you had some bad food, you stayed up too late, you overdid it, you hurt yourself, yada, yada, yada. Got it? And instead of 100 cells, you made 10,000 cells today. Got it? But you didn't know that. One of the substances that help you heal and get you over that is cholesterol, right? Now, you just happened to have a blood test come up that you're going to your doctor the week after this started. Now, in 3 months, your body will have completely defeated that. And the way we know that is the breast cancer research that we have now is that most women that actually have breast cancer get over it on their own and they never know they have it. And I could say the same thing with colon cancers and all these other things. So let's say the cancer that you're about to get over within the next 3 months starts last week. But your body reads it, knows that it needs to increase healing, and so it jacks a lot of things up. So there's a lot of different blood things that are different, including white blood cells that are increased, a lot of different cells that are increased, but your cholesterol is up. And last year when you took it, it was, quote, fine, and now it's not fine. Do you see that? So what's not fine? So how do you read it? So what is not fine? So over what? Over what? Over 200, okay? Now, first of all, in my opinion, again, just Dr. David's opinion, I'm not a medical doctor, not trying to make medical decisions, but if your cholesterol is under 240, you've probably got an issue. I don't like it. I think it should be at least 240. People go, oh, it's great, it's 198, and instantly I go, oh no, you better get that up. Because the lower your cholesterol goes, the more likely you have cancer anyway.
Are you talking about HDL?
I'm talking about total, completely, okay? Now watch this. So your doctor doesn't know this, so he puts you on cholesterol drugs, not knowing what? That your body is fending for itself and just puts you out of the pot into the fire. Did you get that? So when you read your results, think about this first. Is there a reason why my cholesterol should be high? If you fought off a viral infection, if you've been overly stressed, do you know that just stress alone will increase it? Do you know if you've not had enough sunshine, it will increase it? Do you know that if you have not got enough exercise, it'll increase it? Do you know if you're not sleeping regularly, it'll increase it? Did you guys get that, like at the same time? A lot of things increase that. If you have deadlines at work, it's a lot of oxidative stress. So it just wants to jack that intima layer up of your vessel, and so guess what? Your body's going to go, ooh, let's just protect it, let's just increase it a little bit, and off we go. Make sense? So when you read this, when you get your blood vessels back, guess what they're never going to ask? They don't ever ask why. They just ask what is it? And based on what it is, in whatever timeline it is it's on, and whatever level it's supposed to be, if it's above it, you're getting the hyper drug. If it's below it, you're getting the hypo drug. Got it? So when it comes to that, now, what is some other things that are related to that? Triglycerides. What is a triglyceride? It's basically a fat and sugar. A triglyceride is a glycogen molecule attached to 3 fatty acids. And that glycogen molecule is what your liver uses to take stored energy out of the body and turn into sugar. And it attaches it to fat, which is also a good source of energy, right? Okay? Now, triglycerides in your blood, like from animal fats, these things, that being high, and then having an inflammatory oxidative stress, now you can oxidize cholesterol. Got it? So triglyceride, number 1, look at that first, okay? Because having a high triglyceride is more of a factor for heart disease than total number of cholesterol, okay? The next thing is you want to look at cholesterol particle size, okay? And the reason for that is going back to oxidation again. If I take an apple on a usual sunny day and put it out on the sidewalk, how long will it be able to sit out there until it oxidizes, turns brown, and gets mushy? A day, 2 maybe, something like this, right? But if I take that, leave it there, and then I take another apple and I cut it in 2 and set it next to it, how fast will that one get squishy and brown? Pretty quick. But watch this. Let's take a third apple. Let me cut it into 20 different pieces and set those pieces next to the second one. How fast does that one oxidize? Faster. Way more, because there's more surface area for air and light to get to, so it oxidizes faster. So when we talk about your total cholesterol can be exactly the same and someone hardly get any oxidation of their cholesterol at all. And another person has the exact same, because it's based on weight, and yet oxidizes like a mug. They're like 2 days away from a heart attack. And the reason for that is someone could have the same weight and only have like 12 molecules over here, and another person could have 100 molecules over here. Which one's going to oxidize faster? The 100. So which is more important, total cholesterol or particle size? Particle size. Now you look at that, when you look particle size and elevated cholesterol, now we're talking about something. Does it make sense?
Okay, what is particle size called?
Just particle size, cholesterol particle size.
Cholesterol particle size.
Yeah, you can look it up.
Not triglycerides.
Not triglycerides. Now triglycerides is just talking about the glycogen and fatty acid combination, which is a triglyceride, in your blood. And having high triglycerides usually means you have a higher oxidative stress. Got it? Okay, everybody got that? Now, the next thing that is there's 2, is fasting blood glucose. If your fasting blood glucose is higher, okay, which they say is over what? Over 100. And I would say it's not a bad, I like people to be under 100. But if it's over that, that means that you've got sugar in your blood a lot of times and it's high. Make sense? If you have sugar in your blood a lot, can you see how that's going to oxidize things fast, right? Mm-hmm. So what's that mean? What kind of diet should you be doing? Low glycemic index diets. Staying away from carbohydrates, okay? Simple carbohydrates. Got it? Easy stuff, sugar. The next thing is, write this down, C4A. You don't know what it means. It's just an inflammatory marker. Some of you guys have seen C4A on your blood test. You didn't know what it meant. It's just an inflammatory marker for your blood, and it's going to show you what your inflammation, it's just one inflammation marker. If that's high, it means there's a lot of inflammation, right? What is the number 1 predictor of occlusion of blood vessels and high blood pressure? It's actually inflammation. Inflammation causes heart disease, not necessarily cholesterol. But inflammation causes oxidation, which then causes the cascade to go effect. So what are we looking at again? Let's go through them. So we got, let's go start at the top. So triglycerides, okay, that's the highest one. What's the next one?
Fasting blood glucose.
Say it right here. Particle size is next. What's after that? Fasting blood glucose. And then what? C4A. Got it? Now, is there more than that? You bet. And we could go through an exhaustive list. But it's not necessarily. Okay? Now, here's the thing. If you guys really want a baseline to see what your cardiovascular risk factors are, I would suggest to you the number one thing you could do is not to go get a cardiac blood panel. I think the number one thing you could do is get a metabolics kit, because it'll tell you, have you guys seen this? Like this has your vitamin deficiency, so it'll tell you, what you need. Like everybody knows that B vitamins decrease your likelihood of a heart attack. But how much B vitamins should I take? Or who to take? Or when to take? And so this helps you with this. But oxidative stress, why is oxidative stress markers almost key indicators for heart attacks? Because it's what's oxidizing the cholesterol and causing atherosclerotic plaques and plugged arteries. Got it? Inflammation markers, there's 3 different ones here on this, where most of your doctors are only checking for one. Toxicity, gastrointestinal stress, stress hormones, and watch this, fatty acid imbalance. Why would that be important to your cardiovascular risk factors? Because when your 3 and 6 is out, and there's a bunch of them here, 3, 6, trans, and then ratios of each, and there's, I forget how many, there's 12 different markers on this. When you see that those are out of balance, you know what? You know that your body is out of balance, and so your fats, which create cholesterol, now you start having issues. Got it? So it increases cascade of oxidative stresses and all the rest. Got it? Make sense? So what's the number one way to check your cardiac likelihood of having a heart attack? It's right here. It's this test right here. Got it? It just shows you. Who's done this? Raise your hand if you've done a metabolic test. Yeah, so like 3/4 of the room. Good stuff. All right, so is that somebody should post that on your Facebook post. I'm just saying. That's what I'm saying. Now let me just prove it to you that cholesterol does not, or statin drugs don't save lives. Because I have people go, listen, everybody knows that statin drugs save lives, right? Everybody, who has a friend that has told you that? Statin drugs save lives. Anybody? Or your parent, your mom or dad said that, right? Come on. So this is from actually Texas caps and ACAPs. There was a lot of people in this study, and they followed people for 5.21 years. What they found was, get this, okay? Amazing. Total mortality at 5 years. Was there any difference? There was no difference whatsoever for men and women, which guess what? What that meant? If you took a statin drug and lowered your cholesterol, whether it lowered it or not, were you less likely to die? Not at all. So what are we even talking about here? It's $100 a month average for people to take that. It's just ridiculous. But let's go to another one. This is the Prosper trial. It was printed in Lancet in 2002, and it was used in older population. The other one with people were 45 to 73, but this is 70 to 82, 50% women, 5,800 people. That's a good study. It's not like 12 people. Okay? Pravastatin or placebo, just like the other one was a statin and a placebo. 3.2-year follow-up, that's a long time for a study. You guys get that? A lot of times they'll do stuff for like 6 weeks or something like this. 3.2 years. Now get this is crazy. It goes through deaths from different things, including cancers and strokes and then heart disease, suicides as well. But look at this. Death from stroke, basically the same. Okay? Death from coronary heart disease, and then cancer death rates, actually worse in the statin group, right? Caused more cancer. And then if you just look, the total mortality is no difference. So you actually look at studies that were not funded by the pharmaceutical companies selling the drug, and guess what you actually find? You pull back the curtain and there's a little man back there. There's no such thing as the Wizard of Oz. Got it? The statin drugs do not help. They actually what? They hurt. Just absolutely. Right now, there's 500,000 people in homes for memory care and whatever else that are there from statin-induced dementia, and it is actually a diagnosis code and has an ICD-9 diagnosis code now. Statin-induced dementia. Got it? You with me? All right. In fact, watch this. If you show me people with cholesterol, the lower the cholesterol, when you start getting close to 200, I can show you who is most likely going to have dementia. And they actually did a study on that, printed in a medical journal, JMA, and they actually showed people who have lower cholesterols are more likely to have dementia and Alzheimer's. Right? So guess what you don't want? Low cholesterol. You go to your doctor and your cholesterol is low, they go, man, that cholesterol is low. You are doing so good. It's awesome. Like, what are you talking about? If you want a patient for life to drill into a bucket and take your drugs the rest of it. Like, it's ridiculous. Now, so let's talk about the truth. What is the truth? More people die with low cholesterol mortality rates than normal or high. In fact, actually, more people have heart attacks at, quote, normal cholesterol than high cholesterol. That is the stats. That is printed in medical journals. That is the truth. And cholesterol, this is also an absolute printed in medical journals, high cholesterol does not cause heart disease. Oxidation of cholesterol causes heart disease. Are we final on that?
Yes.
Got it? Everybody with me? Okay, that's the truth about cholesterol. Now, how do you get high cholesterol? People will tell you what's the worst fat to eat. Animal, fried, whatever else. But just between saturated or unsaturated, what do they tell you the worst fats to eat are? Don't you eat saturated fat. Saturated fat is bad for you, except for guess what you see? The people that eat the least amount of saturated fat have the highest amount of heart attacks and heart disease and stroke.
I didn't know that.
Did you get that? Look it up. Yes, look it up. Look it up. And now you can get overzealous and eat too much saturated fat. I get you. But do you know right now, like up to about 65% of your caloric intake a day being from good fats, including saturated fats, actually increases your likelihood for a better immunity, decreases heart disease, and decreases cancer rates, and increases your cognitive longevity. Raise your hand if you'd like to have cognitive longevity. My wife would like me to have cognitive longevity, I can tell you that. In fact, I think she wants me to get more of it. But what causes high cholesterol? What causes high cholesterol? Write it down. Stress. Stress is a big one, okay? Bad fats, sugar, problems with sleeping. Some of you guys that are not sleeping. Working night shifts actually increases cholesterol. Having a bad ratio between 3 and 6, out of ratio essential fatty acids. So you just not get enough essential fatty acids of 3 essentials. Omega-3. Got it? Very simple. And one more. Watch this. Subluxation. Subluxation, because watch this. If I take Homer, do you mind? If I take Homer and I subluxate his neck like this, okay? Now his neck's crooked, it's putting pressure on the nerve supply. Most of you guys don't realize, even if he has full range of motion, but it's putting pressure on the nerves there, the pressure, it just sits, it's almost like it's tapping on his sympathetic nerve supply. The sympathetic's fight or flight, fight or flight, fight or flight. So he could be relaxed, he could have got a raise at work, had 2 weeks off for vacation, but internally, physiologically, it's like he's sitting in poisonous snakes all around him, about to bite him in the face. But on the outside, he could be holding a drink and being in the sand and the sun on his face like, but internally, he's like this, even if he doesn't feel it. Does that make sense? So a subluxation will cause what? All these fight or flight mechanisms. Now watch this. Here's another reason why I say it's stress, whether it's subluxation stress or chemical stress or emotional, physical stress or spiritual stress. Don't let me pasture you up on that one. But the reason I say that stress causes it is because, watch this. Let me give you a man-eating tiger. Got it? He's already eaten 2 people. I got to go out of town. I'm going to Atlanta on Friday. I got to be out of town for the weekend. Do you mind taking care of him? Just don't pet him. In fact, just don't look him in the eyes. Just throw some steak his way. You're going to be fine. But he's walking around your house, right? Now, first of all, if you got to walk around your house all weekend, and this thing's like 600-700 pounds, and he's like looking at you like this, like this. Watch. No, wait. Would your heart rate be elevated?
Yes.
Would your digestion be decreased a little bit? Would your respiratory patterns be more shallow? Would your blood oxygen level go a little bit down, maybe just a little bit? Would your stored glycogen stores be being used and being ready for a fight? Yes, right? And so what happens, what if you lived in that all the time? What if you, wait a second. What if you have my tiger at your house, but you had a medical appointment on Monday, and you went in and you got everything looked at? What would he find?
Nothing.
Oh my Lord, your blood pressure's through the roof, you got a shallow heart rate, your digestion's terrible, your red blood cells are decreased, your white blood cells are through the roof, you're just horrible. Your skin looks terrible, your blood pressure, it's terrible. You got some arrhythmias. And what's the solution to that? Give you drugs, which you got to get rid of the tiger. Guess what the tiger, for some of you guys, the tiger is that big angle in your neck like that. That's the tiger. You got to get rid of that. Some of you guys, it's the fact that, you need your you time, my me time. And so you stay up until 11:30, 12 o'clock at night when you got to get up at 6, right? Don't look at me too long when I know I'm talking to you. Some of you guys, the tiger is, I just really like to eat, so when I eat like a third more than I need. So I carry a lot of stress. And listen, first of all, that's my thing. Kim and I were talking about it yesterday. I just eat too much when I eat. I just love food. I'm a foodie. Like today, she made me this curry chicken stuff. Man, I just went to town. I had 2 big bowls, and I got done. I was like, I did it again. And it's in the Bible under gluttony. That's my tiger. You have your tiger, yes? Okay? Who has an emotional tiger, like a relationship? Right? You're like, oh, here he comes. Don't look at your spouse. My point, though, is everybody's got it. Now watch, but wait, listen to me. No matter what it is in your life, you got to deal with the tiger. Don't just try and fix it from outside in. Got it? So, causes of it. Silent killer, blood pressure. But blood pressure really does have some different markers that people look at. So they actually start giving it stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. Why? It's because what they start diagnosing people with diabetes with? Pre-diabetes. Why did they start giving pre-diabetes diagnosis? So that we can preventatively give you drugs now so that we stay off the diabetes over here. The problem with it is you give somebody a diabetes drug, you create what you're trying not to get. When you give somebody a blood pressure medication, guess what you're creating? Blood pressure issues, and eventually now you're right in the middle of it. So the problem with it is really primary prevention through blood pressure meds. Now this is controversial. So again, I'm not a medical doctor, so you got to listen to the health professionals this one. But there are studies out there right now when it comes to primary prevention and blood pressure, that people that have high blood pressure on the drug die sooner than people with blood pressure that is not high, that's not on the drug. So no drugs. Did you get that? There are lots of studies out there like that. It's crazy. So primary prevention really is a farce. Now the problem with it is all the studies that prove it are paid for by who? Yeah. Now how do I come up with a $500 million study? Homer, I'm sorry. Your care plan is now $7,000 for a week. So,
To get a second job.
yeah, or a third. Judy, it's going to be $57,000 for your next care plan. You see where I'm going? You just can't do that. And so the only people that can pay for these studies are the people who are selling the drugs. Okay, so next, risk factors. If you just look at this, just look at the blocked arteries. The things that cause blocked arteries are thickening of the vessel wall. Okay, now why would the vessel wall thicken? The vessel wall thickens because it's inflamed. Imagine a tube like this, okay? And now imagine the thickness of the tube is the thickness of my fingers, okay? But what if one side of the wall got that thick? Do you see that? The reason that the wall would get that thick is because it's swollen, it's inflamed, right? So if the wall gets swollen, instead of being like this, it'll be like this. So then that the hole where the blood goes through gets what? Smaller the thicker the wall gets. So when you start talking about clogged arteries, what causes more completely clogged arteries is not the occlusions from these plaques or clogged cholesterol. It's from the thickening of the wall until it thickened so much that it did what? Closed up. You see that? Okay. Now if I've got inflammation, because listen, everybody eats a little bit of cake every once in a while, but then now I've got a choked off nerve supply going to it so that the vessel actually is not as strong muscular, because it's a muscle, right? It is. And now watch this. Now get inflammation over years, less nerve supply, and eventually it just goes like this. Closes up. One heartbeat away, and it goes like this. And if that's part of your heart, now your heart can't get it, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I got a little shoulder pain. I got like a band across my chest. I think I'm having a heart attack. And they'll go, well, we'll fix that. Guess what they do? Put a stent in, put you on a clot buster, right, all the rest. But was it a clot buster that was needed for that particular thing? No, but nobody was looking at that. Do you see that? That's why Dean Ornish, doing that whole reversing heart disease thing. Remember that Dean Ornish study? He reversed like 98% of all blockages in people that had like massive blockages in their heart without stents and without open heart surgery. And he did it by lifestyle changes. And he did yoga and meditation, and he did veganism and things like this. But he just did a low glycemic index diet with just no inflammation whatsoever. You get that? He did it without drugs too. They're after him. Now watch this. Are there certain drugs that will cause increase in blood pressure? Now I'm about to floor you. What is the one thing they put people with heart issues on? Something a day, every day. Aspirin a day. Guess what actually causes an increase in blood pressure? Non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. You take a Tylenol, you take something like this, or an ibuprofen, something like this, aspirin, it actually increases blood pressure. Did you know that? Yeah, that's a good one. So pain medications and anti-inflammatories cause an increase in that. So does cough medication. That's another one. So does birth control. So you get that. Causes high blood pressure. Watch this. Sorry. So does caffeine. Guess what you don't want to drink the morning you go get your blood pressure taken? Big cup of coffee. Because you have a cup of coffee and it increases your blood pressure and your doctor goes, well, look, I think you got a time for some meds. And just because you had a big thing of caffeine, maybe 2 cups before you went because you were nervous and you're trying to bring your nerves down, right? But there's drugs that cause it too. How do we fix this? Through the 5 essentials. Let's just go, so let's talk about some nutrition. Everybody here, I think, is a patient, and what do we talk about? Advanced plan. So if you're watching it on the internet, what's the advanced plan? Advanced plan, core plan. Advanced plan is limiting sugar, number 1. Got it? So we stop sugar. We get rid of the glycemic rush from sugar, okay? Then we get rid of anything that turns to sugar, okay? Which is what? Come on. Bread, pasta, rice, wheat, corn, oatmeal, all that stuff. And then I had somebody the other day, I said all the fun stuff. No, listen, go with Dr. Debor and I to the grocery store and have some fun. I had mint chocolate cupcakes with some kind of frosting in the middle that were decadent and amazing when I came back to work, because Julie at the other office made them for us. She said sharing is caring, left a big thing of them on our desk. I was like, thank you, Jesus. It was so good. And so we have breakfast tacos. Who's had the breakfast tacos yet? Yeah, some of you guys? Awesome, because they got siete tortillas here. So you don't have to do without. But I can tell you this, is it worth it? Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it. So nutrition, the first one is get rid of sugar. Second one is get rid of grains or anything that turns to sugar, which is grains. And then also perfect your protein. So get your proteins right, which have bad fats and stuff in it like this. So you want grass-fed and not just grass-finished, but grass-fed when you can get it. Okay. Also, perfecting your proteins means not eating too much. Anything over a decacard goes through a process called gluconeogenesis. Who is guilty of that right now? Just look at me. You don't have to raise your hand. Just look at me. I am. Thank you, Jesus, for your grace on me. But I love food, so I eat too much food. So I'm working on that myself. Who here's got something they're working on? We're all working on something, right? So, but anything over about a deck of cards does turn to sugar. So it's like you're just eating a Snickers bar. And so it just raise your blood sugar right up. And listen, if you haven't tested that yet, I dare you to get a finger prick. Eat a meal with a little tiny piece of protein, okay? Low glycemic, like a salad with some meat on top, just a little bit of meat. And then do the exact same thing, like the next day or a couple days later, and put a bunch, like a chicken breast and a half on there. Got it? So more than that. And then just do your blood sugar 5 minutes, 15, 30, and an hour. Guess what you're going to see? You'll be like, oh, he was right. Dang it. Because your blood sugar is going to go up like you ate a bunch of sugar. Got it? Ages you, causes high blood pressure, thickening arteries, all the whole thing. Got it? So, nutrition, that's the big ones. And water. You guys do not drink enough water. Everybody's dehydrated. You gotta get water. If you have a decreased intake of water and you're dehydrated, what happens to the viscosity of your blood? It gets thicker, which causes more damage to vessels over time, right? So you want lots of water. It's funny you guys started drinking water. Oh, thank God. So good. He's talking about. It's okay. All right. I got this from Dr. Wolfson. He is a natural cardiologist. He was a cardiologist. I had lunch with him a couple months ago. Amazing guy. And he says that no one should have a heart surgery or a heart procedure until they've had their, don't quote me, but I think this is what he said. No one should have a heart procedure unless they get their nervous system checked first. Radically change this guy. So this guy, Dr. Wolfson, I think it's drwolfson.com. This is very close to what we have. Okay, this is basically advanced plan. Okay, I'm gonna let you guys take some pictures of that. Very pretty. Notice on the side it says local, organic, grass-fed, free range. It's good stuff. Okay, everybody good? Good. So what percentage of your dietary intake should be fat? Between 40 and 65%. But why is it right there then? That's because there's fat in both of these, and actually these and that, all the way from here to here. Do you see that? Got it. Now, healthy diet. You could have grass-fed here, and the onions could be healthy. Not necessarily looking right there. But you could have healthy cheese. You could have everything but the bun. Got it? And you could do actually paleo bun too, and actually be doing pretty good with that. But why is that bad? Because there's corn syrup in this, and then the bad cheese is basically plastic. Look at this. This is like the bad bacon here, and then this is actually, the bun is made from corn syrup as well. It's made from corn, and then it's corn-fed beef. It's just corn. The pork is fed corn. Everything's GMO. Like, this is just basically, you should have like a skull and crossbones on that. This over here, this should look like a coffin, and this should look like someone running like this. Like that. This is what that looks like. Those are healthy joints. This is longevity. This is feeling good. This is going to visit the people that are in the hospital. Got it? That's what that looks like. Okay? So, yeah, exactly. So where can I get some resources for this? Most of you guys have gone there. Some of you guys forget about this, and I remind you, go, oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. herbfamilyfoods.com, herbfamilyfoods.com, and you go in, you put a recipe. There's hundreds of recipes in here, all kind of great stuff. There's lots of recipes. We made this. This cost me a lot of money, and there's no charge to you yet. I got to build a hospital. Just saying. Go there. Get this. Got it? Lots of great recipes, and then we're adding to it all the time, especially because of Julie Wilkerson over there. She's just making some great stuff. Who was here at the Eat Cookies and Lose Weight talk over at Natural Grocers? Yeah, thanks for being there. Who had the little fluffy white almond cookies? Those are good. I love those. Anyway, those are on there now too. Now let's go through some supplements. You guys ready for supplements? These are the core supplements I want you to know about. Okay, for heart. Okay, CoQ10. CoQ10 is not just needed for energy in every single muscle, but it's needed by the bucket loads in your heart. Also, if you take a statin drug, guess what it reduces? Your CoQ10 stores, which is another reason it leads to more heart disease than it does save you from it. But it's needed in the heart for heart energy. Okay, but here's the other thing most people don't think about. CoQ10 is a massive oxidative stress reducer. It actually breaks down free radicals. And so it's an antioxidant as well. Very, very good. This is one of the most powerful things. And here's the thing, CoQ10 will not make you feel like a B vitamin. People do like B vitamin shots and B vitamin on your tongue because they get like it's almost like a stimulant. They just feel energized like this. It's not like this. And some of the most important things you take are not going to make you feel like all of a sudden you took it and you're like, yes, I love it when I take that supplement. It's not like that, but this is extremely important, okay? It's needed for all energy in the heart, and it actually decreases as you age. Not it's about age, but just function, but it does decrease in most people, which is why the older you get, the more that you need. Okay, how much do you need? It's a good question. Well, average people need, the bottle says 60, so you're taking 2 a day, and it's somewhere between this, 120 milligrams and yada yada, but I didn't know. And I would have just taken 120 to 180 milligrams. Guess how many I needed when my metabolic test came back? 1,800 milligrams per day.
Wow.
Try that one on.
That would make you very broke.
Yes. Trust me, I had to figure that out. I was taking like a whole, and trying to swallow it. Like I was like, babe, I don't need any food. I got all the food I can handle on these pills. But CoQ10, now for some of you guys may not ever know that you're taking enough of it unless you get that metabolic test. Got it? Which is why she put that on.
Any foods?
Yes, it is. It's in a lot of foods. Green leafy vegetables has that in there. Cauliflower. There's a list of them. If you just Google CoQ10 rich foods, it'll come up. There's an entire list. That's what I did. Okay. Pro magnesium formula. Why would this be good? It actually helps prevent hypertension. It actually is very good if there's anybody that has a propensity for high blood pressure. Magnesium is huge. Also, if you talk to, there's 2 doctors that wrote some of the best research on heart. one of the major causes of cardiovascular events is actually low magnesium. They say that every single person should take magnesium. Huge, every single, which is another reason why I take it. I take it every single night. It helps me sleep. Okay, the calm, take it, just like that. Easy stuff. But this is a great formula as well. Optimal Omega, okay, so this has a very, very rich source of omega-3. It's awesome. It comes from flaxseed and Pacific fish oil. Very, 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 very good. And because everybody's ratio is off, you're taking this in a ratio that's going to help you level out your ratios. And the people that have taken the metabolics test and taken this, or we had 2 last year that took the metabolics test and goes, well, I just want to, I want to save up some, I want to cut corners a little bit. So they went and they bought some at another place, and it was supposedly a really good one. And then we went back and we tested them again. It was just as bad or worse. And they said, oh, okay. So they went back and they took ours, and guess what? It leveled them back out, and then their fatty acid ratios were spot on, because this is how you get there. Got it? Who here's heard you pay for what you get? You pay for cheap stuff, you're probably gonna, you get what you pay for. Listen to her. Now, so daily defense. Now, daily defense is another one. This is probably one of the most important ones, because it eliminates free radicals. There's 3 things in this, okay? First one is curcumin, the second one is Indian gooseberry, and the third one is melon extract. And they're both heavy hitters in being antioxidants. There's nothing like this on the market. There's nobody that has anything like this, so you just can't find it. You take this every day so that it actually, it just shuts down those oxidative species that are causing free radicalization and oxidating cholesterols and all the rest. Does that make sense? Now here's another one. Doesn't make you feel any better. You could take this, not feel any different. But this is a $1 million check that you don't know that you need. Got it? So this is daily defense. Why is it called daily defense? Just take it so that you're just knocking down all the free radicalizations. Daily defense, very simple one. Vitamin D3. Now listen to this. Do you know right now, if I take your vitamin D3 levels and they're low, that you are twice as likely to have a heart attack? How about that one? That is so crazy. Why don't cardiologists, the first thing they do is check your D3 then? Right? I mean, literally, like what do you think is more statistically probable? High total cholesterol or D3 being low? D3 twice as likely to have a heart attack. I mean, that is the stat. That was from the Journal of American Medical Association. So guess what should just be your baseline? Just taking this, right? And it's in a form that's 5,000 IUs per capsule, which I have some medical doctors who in the past have been like, you can't give people, because my recommendation is taking 10,000 IUs a day. Right? So you take 2 of those little tiny capsules a day to get your daily amount. And people go, well, that's too much. Well, I don't know about you, but when the doctor says it's okay as long as it's 30, but none of the cancers actually go away till you get closer to 60 and 70, I don't know about you, but I want to take more than what he says or she says. Got it? So this is a very important one, okay? Also, it's interesting how this helps with a lot of things like anxiety. This is really weird. I had a guy having anxiety attacks being put he's going back and forth in the emergency room just knowing he has a heart attack. And I megadosed him on vitamin D because he was low. And as soon as I megadosed him, he went, he said, whatever's in that, man, saved my life. And then he started going down the road again, and he just took a little bit more. He was just chronically deficient. It was actually a toxicity issue. Oxygen and exercise. I literally watched who watched TED Talk? Anybody watch TED Talk? Anybody nerds like me watching TED Talks? So I watched this TED Talk on how to live to 100. I'd never seen this lady before. And I turned it off after this because she said, statistical probability says that having a flu shot is more important than exercise for longevity. I went, you're done. Click. Like, really? And you're a scientist? Yeah, who paid you that? So the point is exercise important? Why? Because your heart's a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. It needs movement. How much movement? The goal should be 30 minutes, 5-6 days a week. If you did 30 minutes a day, did you know this? 63% decrease in breast cancer, 42% decrease in colon cancer, and something like 57, don't quote me, but something like 57% decrease in cardiovascular disease, just from moving 30 minutes a day. And when I told Kimberly that like 8-9 years ago, when she was having trouble getting workouts in. She goes, that is so stupid. I just can't get, I don't go get a workout in because I don't have an hour. She goes, but I could go walk for 30 minutes anywhere. So guess what she did? She started walking. Do you know that she did almost 2 years, 7 days a week exactly, never missed. And when she couldn't get a full workout in, guess what she still did? And we'd go on and she would not go to sleep and she would not go do something, even if she wanted to take a nap really bad, because she was committed to getting that 30 minutes in. It was awesome seeing her go through that. I think some of you need to do that. Move more. Just figure out, don't take the elevator. Got it? Who here has purposely not taken the elevator? I go to the airport and they got the escalators and they got the 2 stairs in the middle. I'm the guy that's taking them. I'm looking at people on the escalator and looking at me going, what are you doing? And I'm racing them. I'm getting to the top. And I do that because I don't want to have to take that. And the more that you take the stairs instead of the escalators or the stairs instead of the elevators, the more that you can keep doing that. Okay, so move more. And move outside if you can. Why? This is pretty crazy. Watch this. What if sunshine could lower cholesterol? You think it could? Now stop for a second. When you get, how do you get vitamin D? Let's just talk about vitamin D again. Sunshine. So sunshine has to get your skin, and then the sunshine changes chemicals and changes them into vitamin D, right? What chemicals does it change? What are the chemicals you need to create vitamin D through sunshine? Anybody know? Did you, wait a second. Whoa, that was way bigger, because some of you guys knew it and said it, and everybody's like, what? Cholesterol plus sunshine on your skin changes cholesterol to vitamin D. You get that?
Okay.
Now watch this. I've got so much cholesterol, I got a certain amount, and I'm trying to make vitamin D, and naturally the way I do it is sunshine. Got it? Now what if I don't get sunshine? Guess what happens to how much vitamin or how much cholesterol I have? Goes up. If I get more and more and more sunshine, guess what happens to my cholesterol?
Oh, I see.
Goes down. Watch this. This is cool. This is latitude. So this is like close to the border, right? So close to the equator, right? This is where this is. So Japan, what is this? Croatia, like all these different, Italy, and you go up this way, it goes higher and higher and higher away from the equator, where the sun is the most powerful. What you see is, guess what happens to mean blood cholesterol? The further you go away where there's less sunshine, the less sunshine you get, the higher your cholesterol goes. Do you see that? Now, I'm not saying it's a cure-all for high cholesterol. What I'm saying is, guess what's very important to prevent heart disease? Sunshine. Exactly. Sunshine is extremely important, okay? You want that on your face. Just think about this for a second. Close your eyes. Look up. Imagine the sun on your face right now. No sunglasses on. Warming your skin up. There's something good about that. Do you guys get that? That's good stuff. Now, mindset. Now, I want to preach this, and I tried to practice this talk over and over again so I can get done on time, and I'm 4 minutes over. But I want to preach about an hour on this message right now, and I'm not going to do it. I'm going to finish this up. But I want you to write this down. It says in Isaiah 26:3. Isn't it great we still live in a country that I can preach and someone's not coming to get me? I don't care if they are coming to get me. Isaiah 26:3. It says, he's talking about God, will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on him, capital H. Got it? Now that's pretty good. But what does this actually mean? The word mind, he will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on him. That word mind is actually used in the Old Testament 12 different times. It's the word yetzer. Yetzer. And it's actually the word that's translated as imagination. So it's when you keep your imagination stayed on him. And what does that mean? Because who here has ever in your life ever got your imagination gone away, like ran away from you? You start thinking, well, if I don't get that, if I lose my job, then this is the next thing that happens, and that thing's the next thing that happens. And then what if she tells her what I said? Then she's going to say, and then it's going to move to this person, and then they're going to say this, and it's going to get back to that person. What if, oh my gosh, what if that check clears, and I already did the thing, and if that clears, it's going to bounce, and then, oh my gosh, I'm going to be so embarrassed because I got this dinner party over. Anybody ever do that? Like what happens is, your imagination, you're using it nonstop. Some of you guys don't think you use your imagination, but you use it nonstop. You can't even get home without using your imagination, because this is how you take a turn. I'm going to go out here, I'm going to get out of the parking lot, I'm going to take a left or a right, I'm going to go down to the light, I'm going to go straight. You're using your imagination constantly. How many exterior doors do you have in your house? You could tell me, because you would think about it. How could you do that? You're not there. You use your imagination. You use your imagination all the time. The problem with it is your imaginations become vain very easily because we're what we're focused on. He says, He will keep you at perfect peace when your mind is stayed on Him. Now, how do I keep my mind on Him? Things of Him, things about Him, what His Word says, who He says I am, not what somebody else on Facebook said about me needing to be shot or something like that. Like, I'm not going to perseverate on that. And so how do you stay at perfect peace? Your mindset needs to be thinking about hope and a future. Jeremiah, right? Jeremiah says, it is His pleasure that He has a hope and a future for you. If you have negative expectations, like most of the world wants you to expect what? As you live, you're going to get less, expect less, have stuff taken from you. I mean, this is what the world wants to tell you. I don't know about you, but I expect more. I expect more miracles. I expect more peace. I expect more abundance. I expect more love and more people and more wonderful things to happen. Do you expect more? Should you expect more? I don't want to get my hopes up. Well, guess what? That's not what God said. In fact, He said He is the God of hope. Yes or no? I'm telling you, I don't want to preach this. I can go for an hour. But I want you to write that down, and I want you to perseverate on that. And anytime that you start getting out of peace, the devil does not want you at peace. In fact, your peace is what he wants. In fact, the only person who can give him your peace is who? You. You make a decision. You are responsible for that. Got it? I have people go, well, I can't help it. I'm like, oh, no, you can help it. Get up inside some pages of that Bible and think about what He says you are. And if you have trouble with that, that's why there's fellowship. Iron sharpens iron. Sometimes I'm dull and I can't get through it with my blade, and I need somebody else to come sharpen me along. And they say, listen, man, come on, man. You're Dr. Herb. Mm-hmm. And they go, this and that. Remember the win you had here? Remember the win you had there? Come on. And guess I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. What am I doing? So guess what? If you ever need that, call somebody. And if you don't have somebody to call, guess who else you should call? Me. I'll lead you. There's very little difference between pastoring a church and being a chiropractor at this office. Got it? Okay. That's my mindset. I'm going to stop. I could keep going. I'm going to keep you all day. And I have an interview in 19 minutes. De-stress and rest. De-stress and rest. Your calendar is toxic. I haven't even seen your calendar yet. Listen, not only do I have this talk, and everybody we had here, yes, I'm finishing up, thank you. But I've got my radio show talk at 8, and then I have a meeting with a person that I'm meeting in Austin on Wednesday at 8:30. It's going to last till 9:30, and I haven't got home yet. This is a toxic day. Sometimes you need to plan that. I don't have any choice. This is just the way it's going to be because I got to be in Atlanta later this week. So that's okay. That's a season. But guess what? We changed our hours through this summertime, and I'm not sure when that's going to change back yet. But guess what? I have taken Friday afternoon and Saturday and Sunday for a reason. Guess what? So I could de-stress my schedule. Some of you guys need to start taking a metaphorical scalpel to your schedule because it needs to be good for you. You need to create a little bit more time. Even Jesus said, I pulled away. Got it? Go. De-stress and rest. Rest. Some of you guys are not sleeping and it's not important to you. You need to sleep. Sometimes it's more important to finish that show. That's not important. You need to sleep and rest. That will catch up with you. Okay? People say, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Well, you'll get there sooner. Again, sleep your way to better cholesterol. This is a crazy study. Actually, when you lose 30 minutes of sleep, you decrease your insulin sensitivity by up to 30%. And cholesterol, triglycerides, all of it goes up. Got it? And so you got to get sleep. It's very important to get sleep. Sleep your way to better cholesterol. It's just crazy stuff right there. The Hordaland study, health study. Okay? This is Wolfson, Dr. Wolfson. Again, amazing guy. His family is way too pretty, by the way. Like a commercial for teeth. But great guy. Go online. He's a great resource. I don't want to say that I quoted him perfectly tonight, but got a lot of great stuff. I want to show you this. What is the sixth thing on there? This is from a cardiologist. Just really, really, really cool. I got this. He gave me like 15 of his PowerPoints. I just took this right out of there. It's good stuff. If you look, responsible paleo, get sunshine, sleep, active, hydrated, chiropractic care, rid of stress, get away from does it sound like the 5 essentials? Sounds like the 5 essentials. Guess who he married? Guess what his wife does for a living? She's a chiropractor. Now she's not max living, but she might as well be. It's just really, really great. Okay, you guys good? Good, so there's some action stuff. The get grounded. So get grounded. So grounded. It's not mental, actually, not at all. He actually promotes taking your shoes and socks off and getting outside, literally getting in the grass, dirt, sand, ocean, lake, whatever else, just so you actually get that electricity. It's a real deal. So nervous system checked, guys. I could go on this forever. I almost died because I had an undetected, uncorrected subluxation. Raise your hand if you go to church. It's not if you don't go to church, it's bad. I'm just saying, raise your hand if you go to church. Raise your hand if I've been to your church and spoke to your church. Good. So some, it's been a while, but it's been some. Now watch this. Guess where I'm going very soon? To your church. And the reason I'm saying is, today I was in room 5, and I had a lady who's just a sweetheart, Rona. I don't know if have you talked to her since yesterday? You didn't know what happened? So that she's at her church, and a lady comes up for prayer. So she got 4 kids. Her oldest is going to college. I got one that's just now started college. I know exactly how this is a proud moment. Everybody's kind of scared, about to be out of the house. And of course she's going to go up for prayer for her son. I think maybe her son was up. I'm just kind of, my mind thinking what it's like. So she goes up for prayer, and people thought she fell. But she was dead before she hit the ground. And I can almost get, she's 38 years old. And healthy people don't die of a heart attack. And I can tell you that son, his name is Brian, I've been praying for him. I thought about him all through lunch. I cannot stop thinking about it. And guess what? Nobody would have thought that was going to happen yesterday. And guess what? Nobody thinks it's going to happen at your church to somebody there either. And guess what's going to happen? You are going to set up a talk at your church. And if you don't think it's important, go talk to Ramona. Got it? We're going to set it up at your workshop or at your work. We're going to do it at your HR department. We're going to be at your church. We need to set that back up and then go back to the churches we've been to make sure we're doing things that we should. Got it? Everybody with me? Good. That's why it's important. And then again, this team should have your face in it. And I want you to be, I want you, everybody look, maybe even take a picture of this, because you guys are now part of creating something like this. And not only am I going to create, in Jesus' name, 12 offices like this, and a hospital somewhere in North Texas that changes how North Texas looks at this, and I guarantee I'm going to have a bullseye on my back. But I'm going to do it here, and then I'm going to do it in every major city, God willing, in the United States, and I'm going to change what healthcare looks like. And He called me to do it. Got it? And He called you to do it. Okay. So, let's do this. Oh, wait a second. I'll leave it up there. I'll leave it up. Good. Let's just pray it up. So, Father, we love you and praise you. Thank you for this evening. I ask God that you would just bless this time, that it helped us not only just sidestep and get away from the likelihood of heart disease in all of our lives, but all the people at our church, at our workplace, in our communities, in our neighborhoods, our loved ones, our family, our children, our grandchildren. I ask God that every single person here, that he got truth, and that truth is applied so it becomes wisdom. And because of that, Father, you're glorified when miracles, signs, and wonders happen. And the world that so elevates science and education that can be so bought and paid for and wrong, and even though a whole world may preach it and scream it, is not right. And so, God, I just ask that your truth sets us free, and as a result of that, the world changes. So I ask a blessing on all of these. You bless tonight and the days forward. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, thanks for being here, guys. Questions?
I don't remember you talking about the difference between the ratio or anything on high and low.
HDL and LDL?
HDL, or how you would accomplish or try to.
Here's the thing. It's going to change on its own. Right. Well, no, there is. There is. Absolutely there is. What you do is you get your ratios right, and it will actually start to balance itself out. You get rid of bad fats, it'll start to balance itself out. You get more saturated fats, it'll balance itself out. Get rid of stress, it'll balance itself out. Again, it changes on its own for what the needs of your body are. It's good. Yeah.
Are there any signs or symptoms in a person about if they're not getting enough protein? Versus, I heard what you said about
Oh, yes.
sugar.
Thin nails, thinning hair, skin that's not as healthy looking, thin skin,
muscle mass.
bruises, muscle mass. You start to catabolize a lot. You see this in a lot of vegans. It's hard to be vegan and do it right. It's almost impossible. Yeah, I don't agree with it, which is like everybody that's watching on the net are like, there's no way. Vegan is the best.
Most people need 40 milligrams
To 60.
40 to 60 a day.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, for sure. What was the supplement that you sent me today? Polycosanol. So polycosanol is basically from the oil from the outside of cane sugar in Cuba. That's basically where it comes from. It's not cane sugar. It's not sweet, but they give it to decrease total cholesterol. And there's some studies that showed that. The interesting is the studies that showed that were mostly from Cuba, where it was coming from. And if you actually take those off of the plate, it's usually about a 14% effective rate for decreasing cholesterol. So it still has a benefit to it. But most of the time, people are trying to lower cholesterol instead of taking a statin when their cholesterol is exactly what it should be. They just need to change the things that are creating high cholesterol.
So polycosanol is really not necessary.
I'm not sure. It's hard for me to say. Now, I can say this, polycosanol actually has positive benefits, so it's not like you're hurting yourself if you take it. So, just like red yeast rice will decrease it. But how much should you decrease it? I don't know, right? Depends on your body. Exactly. I would go back to, some of you guys can't get out of a stressful situation right now, so then I would be taking something to try and help me if it's way crazy high, right? But here's the thing, if you're in a stressful situation, you want cholesterol to be higher, right? We've talked about you playing for hours and hours and hours, probably needs to be higher during that time of the year.
So the benefits of it really taking the polycosanol would not be.
I was going to say, you might lose out on the benefits of having high cholesterol, which you're healing better and exactly. So it's just hard to tell.